Alright, it's your boy. I'm back, man. It's your homie Bang. Back with number or session 23. So I'm gonna piggyback off the last one. So we talking about the disc model, and the last one I was speaking on was the I. And so now we gonna move on to S. The S is steady style. Steady style is also called the supporters. The supporters are the supporters appears calm and easygoing, does not get easily excited, listens carefully, asks questions and inquires about specifics, projects finisher, project finisher, excuse me, looks for compromise and avoids conflict, meditates or mediates conflict within a team. And so the S, the steady style, also known as the supporter, appears calm and easygoing, does not get easily excited, listens carefully, asks questions and inquires about specifics, is a project finisher, looks for compromise and avoids conflict, and and mediates conflict within a team. So the C is the conscientious style. The conscientious style. They also call the thinkers. So the thinkers or the conscientious style focus on details and facts, asks many questions to determine the root of the problem, proceeds cautiously, doesn't easily express views, may sometimes ignore feelings, may be critical towards others, has high standards. And so the C, the conscientious style, or the thinkers, focus on details and facts, ask many questions to determine the root of the problem, proceeds cautiously, doesn't easily express views, may sometimes ignore feelings, may be critical towards others, and has high standards. And so these factor in too. So when we talking about image, man, you got certain people that are dominant. You got certain people that are more of an influencer. You got some people that is kind of more on a laid back, steady type of vibe. And you got all these different styles. So the dominant style, the influential style, the steady style, and the conscious style, the thinker. So you got the thinker, the supporter, the director, and the socializer. And you pretty much got that in every clique, every group. Saying you got somebody who's very dominant. Saying the person basically the head of the group or the clique. Then you got the person who is the thinker. Who always can think about think things through, or the head of the clique. What I'm saying, the motherfucker who brings shit to pass, who bring all the projects to the table, or the motherfucker who create the hustle or whatever. What I'm saying, the motherfucker who is the thinker. Then you got the motherfucker who is the socializer. What I'm saying, like the motherfucker who goes and is good with speaking to people, who's good with connecting. What I'm saying, and what I want to say, compromising with people, talking. What I mean. So then you got the other motherfucker who can influence the shit out of motherfucker. And then you got all these different things in every group, like I said. So we all took a role, and it might be more than these, but in studies they say these are the four traits. So, and you can have more than one of these in each group. So it ain't got to be necessarily this one in each group. It could be two of the same one and one of however we go. But chances are each clique or each group of people have these traits or these particular style of people in their group. And so wherever you fall in that category, depends on, or kind of determines or where you was at growing up, Was you the type of person who followed the leader, you know what I'm saying? Or was you the leader and the motherfuckers followed? You know what I mean? For me, I was the leader type. I never really followed nobody, you know what I'm saying? I was a motherfucker who went out there. I took motherfuckers out with me, you know what I'm saying, to go, we going on an adventure around this bitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to hit the city up, nigga, at a young age on my feet. You know what I'm saying? Taking youngers with me, nigga. Let's go see what the city look like. I'm tired of being on the block. I want to go find something to eat. Let's go see what else is out here. Let's go do something. Nigga, I was on shit 12, hustling, on the go at 12, moving and grooving. Younger than that, 11 actually, yeah. 11 years old. I was on the move, moving. And so, you got these people, certain people, like I said, everybody fall in place where they fall at. And so all this this is what mold our image. And not only that, at that particular age in high school and in junior high, we started listening to music and shit. And you got to think about it too. Eras got a lot to do with it too. Eras got a lot to do with this. Like, depending on if you grew up in the 60s where, it was a racial shit going on, the civil rights movement and shit like that. That makes a big issue. I mean, that makes a big difference too on the type of person you are, depending, because chances are you older. So then the 70s, it was a different type of thing. It was more partying in the 70s. The civil rights stuff was kind of pushed back. That was like over with. 70s was more partying and shit like that. Then you got the 80s where the dope and the pimping and all that shit come in. Then you had the 90s, where it was just really like gangs and drugs. 80s and all that shit. So depending on where you came up and the era of music that you listened to when coming up, I come growing up, when I was 15 and 16 and shit like that. Well, actually younger than that. When I was 13 and 14, 12, 13 and 14, I think we was listening to NWA and shit. So like 88, 89, like that, something like that. That was like some of the first music, we started listening to. I started listening to was like NWA and shit, DJ Quick. It was always, we heard the New York shit, EPMD and shit like that. The OG niggas was rocking, Run DMC and shit like that. We used to hear around the hood, but for me, the first thing I really taped and shit I really grabbed was like NWA, like shit like that. So, depending on the area you grew up in, so. That was fuck the police era, and I grew up, my style of living was shit. We wore khakis, and fucking jeans. That's been my whole life. I wear khakis and jeans, man. Some jogging suits here and there. I really don't go out with the fancy shit. I really ain't with buying all the fancy clothes and shit. I have all different color Dickies, you know what I'm saying? Couple pair of Lee jeans or 501s or something. Some old Champion jogging pants or, some type of this regular old jogging suits, jogging pants. Man, I'm cool. I don't need all the Gucci shit and all that, right? And so I really ain't ever been that type of dude. Back in the day, to get the Fila and the Troop shit, that was, the shit back then, we was trying to get that shit because growing up in junior high, for me, we didn't have no money like that. It's 8 kids, so my mama, wasn't buying all that shit like that. Or she came from Kmart, shit like that. Kmart and thrift stores and trying to think of the other motherfucker, Burlington Coat Factory, shit like that, man. So we weren't really getting no expensive shit growing up. I didn't get no Nikes and shit like that in middle school, high school. When I did, I was buying them. I started buying them and shit in high school, middle school, junior, grade school. We didn't get none of that shit. You know what I mean? So depending on your upbringing, man. Like I said, depending on the genre of music and shit, the different influences. I'm about to start talking about this music because that's a big influence right there. The influence on us the music and the movie industry, Hollywood and shit. All that shit got a big influence on us today and shit and how we was. And like I said, back in the 60s and 70s when shit was humble, you know, when black folks was coming, especially for black people, you know, color people, growing up, you know, in a humble state of mind after coming out of that racial shit, you know, now able to be able to go places we couldn't go. We was humble about, you know, this the existence of being able to exist in a you know, in a co-racial setting, you know what I'm saying, biracial setting. And so, you know, to be able to make a little money and buy some decent clothes to wear for Sunday school and to wear for church, you know, that was more than enough, you know what I mean? And our image was, you know, to be upright. Now the show that we upright citizens, and you know that we are not these animals, you know what I'm saying, that they portrayed us to be, you know, that we are decent people. And so the idea was, let's portray the image of us being decent human beings, decent people, right? And so we came so far beyond and past that now to where, you know, generation after generation, we forget about that humbleness, you know, that our ancestors and grandparents and shit like that had to take on after having that battle, you know. And so you get to the 80s and 90s and shit, and where things is picking up quick, and you know, now it's just like it's more of, we want more now, you know, we able to get more. And now the thing is, how much can we get? And so we're gonna start talking about that, the consumerism of everything, and how that we became so much of consumers, being that, you know, we basically have been you know, hypnotized by all the ads, all the commercializing products, you know what I'm saying, all the advertisement, you know, it keep us in a consumer type of mind state, you know, to where we always want to buy something. And so that becomes a big issue too in our image, you know, and so the competition, all that becomes an issue. The competition that we learned in high school about, you know, being the best in class and reaching for more higher education and being the best that you can be and outdoing your other components. And you know, same thing with the job, the workforce. You know, when they told, you know, when you learn how to go fill applications out and shit like that, that, you know, you want to when you hit the interview, you want to, you know, impress them and be able to out, you know, shine the other people who's trying to get employed at the same place, you know. So it's always been a competition. Then when you get the job, you know, you're in the job trying to fight for a higher position, and so the competition continues to where, you know, you're always competing for a higher raise, higher, you know, pay rate, a higher seat in whatever career that you chose, right? And so it's always about, you know, you have to be better than this other person. You know, it's always about competing with this other person to get to the top, you know. And so that becomes an issue because, you know, when you're competing so much and everything you do is about competition, it can turn into something other, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to go into that right now, but I am going to go into, you know, so when you're learning all this stuff in school about competition, and when you in the job site and you learn and you're doing all this competition shit in the workforce, right? And uh, that becomes habit with your in your social life too, because everybody in your social circle, I mean, everybody's looking for some type of good job, to be able to express to the circle that they in how good a job they got and how good they doing right. And so the whole circle wants to be able to do that in this circle. And so everybody's in this circle is starting to compete with each other, consciously or unconsciously, willing or unwillingly, starting to compete with each other. I'm talking about the friend circle or family circle or whatever circle that you in, right? Whoever you hang out with. Everybody's trying to do good. If not just trying to compete, it's not, some people might not be trying to compete, but to see one of their friends doing good and want to do as good as them and able to, feel successful too. So, you want to do as good as them, so you start reaching higher too, because they inspire